Hey, what's up turtles? It's Krik here with Black Owl Outdoors. Today I want to do a comparison video between the Bahco Laplander and the Corona 10-inch curved folding saw. Now I've done individual videos on each of these saws. I'm not going to go over too much of the specs, but what I will go over is sort of the differences, the key differences, and some of the similarities between these saws, and why I think it'd be worth it to do this video on these comparisons. So the Bahco we have underneath with the OD green and black, and the Corona up here with the red and the black. They're both around $20 online. Some of the key differences that I think are important between these saws I'm going to go over. First one being the size. Closed length of the Bahco is 9 inches as opposed to 12 inches of the Corona. The size of the saw on the Corona, on the Bahco down here is 8 inches. This is a 10-inch curved saw. Weight. The Corona is about twice as heavy as the Bahco. This comes in about right under 13 ounces as opposed to the 6 ounces of the Bahco. The Corona only cuts on the pull stroke as opposed to the Bahco, which cuts on the push and pull. And that's basically the main differences right now I'm going to talk about. Once I finish cutting, I'll go over some of the other features and sort of give you my final judgment on which I think is a better saw to carry out into the woods with you. Right now I'm just going to get a piece of birch up and start cutting with these saws. So I keep a carabiner on this because it's really nice to put on a belt loop to carry just on the waist. I don't have a sheath for it, but it's nice to do this. But I'm going to take this off while I'm going to cut. So how we're going to try to keep this sort of uniform in doing this comparison is that I'm going to actually count. What the count's going to be is, if I'm starting here, forward and back is going to be 1. I'm going to do this with both. Now this cuts on the push and pull. The Corona is only on the pull, but that's just, how Stony and I figured out we're going to do it, and that's what we're going to do for the video. That's how I'm going to keep count for these cuts. I'll tell you what, that was sort of difficult trying to count and do this all at the same time. I want to say that was anywhere 160, right in the middle, 165, something like that. I'm not going to lie, I lost count a couple of times. It's really kind of difficult to do it all at the same time, but nonetheless, I'm going to call that good at 160. Now I'm going to get out the Corona and just cut and see what that count is. So that was about 64, 65, I believe, somewhere in that category. Way faster, ridiculously faster. Much easier to count on my end because I'm only, putting all my force into the pull, which uses pretty much all my back muscles, which is a pretty strong stroke. Hands down, regardless of the count, way better, more efficient at cutting through this birch. So just as it goes as the better saw for cutting, more efficient is this Corona. Now I'm going to get them beside each other and talk about some other features and still make my final assessment of what would be the better saw to carry. So I'm going to touch on some of the features of the Bahco first. Why I like this is, one is the size. It's really nice and compact. It fits into my bush kit that I made. I've done a video on my DIY bush kit that I made. At a 9-inch length, it's really small. Like I said, compact, can pretty much fit anywhere in a pack. You can shove this side pocket, anything like that. It's got the nice lanyard hole right here. And the Corona does have a spot for a lanyard right here, but as you can see, the teeth are protruding in there a little bit. So this is a place to put a lanyard, but as you can see when I move the saw, the teeth do come through that hole a little bit, which is completely non-acceptable for a lanyard hole because eventually it's just going to cut through whatever material you have through there. I don't know if this is just, a little bit of a design flaw, a little bit of lack of quality in this particular saw I'm holding right here, or it does this on every single Corona 10-inch curved folding saw. But nonetheless, really not acceptable. I'm not going to put any material through here, which is kind of a, bust, because it's really nice to carry these saws on your hip when you're out walking through the forest. You don't have to carry in your hand. The sheath, if you had a sheath for this, would remedy that, but Bahco, there's not an issue. It's a really clean saw with the hole. The teeth don't come through it at all. They both lock, have a locking mechanism, which is nice. But honestly, hands down, for $20, this is definitely going to be a way more efficient cutter, as you saw me just do. The colors, like the Bahco, way more, in line with the colors of the forest, which can potentially help you lose it if you set it down on the ground. This is a coated blade on the Bahco to help reduce friction. The Corona doesn't have that, but whether it reduces friction or not, I can't say to compare it if this blade wasn't coated, but as I said, just cutting with this, hands down, the Corona is a way better cutter. And just to get a comparison of the blades next to each other, I mean, look at that. The teeth are way bigger on the Corona, which is going to help cut way faster, way more efficient. And like I said, this isn't a surprise because this is the Corona is a 10-inch saw with bigger teeth. It should cut faster. But if I had to carry one of these, I mean, just having these right now next to each other and going through and processing firewood or taking some stock for whatever reason, I mean, I'd rather have the Corona in my hand. I know the Bahco is a super popular saw. I've used it a lot. I've carried a lot. I haven't carried the Corona that much, but having these next to each other, if I'm going to cut firewood, I'm grabbing the Corona, hands down, no question. It's just that much of a better saw. Over time, as mechanisms go, the hardware, what's going to last longer, I don't know. That has remained to be seen, just because I haven't had these for years, just to see and know that type of stuff. A way more comfortable grip on the Corona, just way more comfortable grip. I feel like I can get into the cut a lot more, put more force, just because it's a little bit thicker, more ergonomic in the handle up here. Just way better cutter as compared to the Bahco. If Corona transferred some of these features of the Bahco into this, make it a little bit better with the teeth not coming through the lanyard, maybe change its color, I probably wouldn't carry the Bahco anymore. This is a bigger saw, but for cutting wood, I mean, I really can't, emphasize enough how much better this cut than the Bahco. If you have any experience with any other folding saws, if you use both of these, you know, tell me your impressions. I'd love to know that, what you think. Like I said, if Corona made a few changes to this and maybe made one more tailored towards us, you know, outdoorsmen, people who like to be outside, not just, you know, around the house type deal in the yard, I'd be really, really happy to buy this, you know, never look back with the Bahco. And that's just because it's just a better tool for cutting wood. If there, like I said, as I mentioned before, if you have any other folding saws or any type of, you know, cutting implements you like to carry into the forest, let me know. Stony and I just recently purchased this fence saw, actually Stony did, which have yet to have out and test, so you'll probably see a video of that coming soon. Saws are really great. Now hatchets and axes are superb tools for in the forest, but as safety goes, weight, all that, a folding saw is a really, really good thing to take with you, as the reasons I just mentioned. So please, again, just let me know if you have, you know, your favorite type of folding saw and or, you know, maybe not folding saw you like to carry out into the bush. Let me know. I hope this video was helpful. Remember to check out blackoutdoors.com. Check us out on Facebook. Check out Blackout on Instagram. This is Krik signing out with Blackout Outdoors. Later, turtles.